How's it going, Retro people? My name is Brad, this is Retro Style Spotlight, and this is your news, notes, history, and retro games to play for the week of August 23rd, 2016. Last week's tutorial was all about the Nintendo Wii U and its emulation venture through an emulator called Cemu. This emulator is fairly young, but has made huge waves in the emulation world. It's broken the trend that usually states that an emulator will need several years before you can really start to utilize the emulator without any issues. While this emulator is certainly still in an alpha state, it's very much playable. I personally see it still taking a year or two for it to be feature-rich, but at their pace of development, I can easily see that being probable. Check out the video if you're curious about the Wii U emulation / soft mod scene, and remember that you can still pick these up from stores, new and used, for fairly cheap. Check around Christmas for good bundles as well. I also want to quickly remind everyone that over at Emu Movies, there is a poll for which front end is your favorite. If Launchbox is your favorite front end to use, then we would appreciate everyone heading on over to the link below and sharing your love. Let's show our friends over at Emu Movies why Launchbox is superb. Drones, AI, virtual reality, augmented reality, and robotics are really starting to take off in our very modern world in a way that it never has before. It's becoming super high tech and accessible to the mass market at a rate that I am not sure we've quite seen before. Knowing that, it's very interesting and somewhat confusing why someone would want to control their drone with their original Game Boy? Part of me actually doesn't find this confusing at all. I myself love mashing technology up when I can to create something a bit different, or just to say that I could make this work in a way that's not sold to anyone else. Gautier Hattenberger, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, in Germany is also like me and has recently created a method for his Game Boy to control a drone. On a website about open source drone tech and software, Gautier has recounted his process and story. The process required utilizing the Game Boy's link cable port, an Arduino, and a process of linking everything back so that a connection could be made from the Game Boy to the drone. Only having 4 face buttons and a D-pad, it obviously doesn't offer the greatest of control or mobility, but hot damn, is that not awesome. As a bonus too, the code to make the hardware and software work together is available for free in an open source format on GitHub. So if you are curious about Hattenberger's method and want to apply it to something else, then dive on in if you think you're up for that challenge. HD mods for retro gaming consoles is officially a thing and not just a fad. More HDMI out ports are cropping up on consoles every day. The consoles can produce already a clean digital signal, but output a messy analog signal because of the period in which they were released, so it was out of necessity at the time. Using upscalers like the FrameMeister is a completely viable option. However, you generally need to mod the consoles for RGB out, if they don't already natively support it, so that you can get the best possible, cleanest visuals. However, the FrameMeister still works with regular out cables that the consoles natively already do, so the FrameMeister can be a one-time purchase and applied to multiple consoles, potentially being cheaper in the long run compared to modding several retro consoles for HD out visuals like the HDMI out ports, but there is something to be said for simplifying the route rather than plugging cables into boxes and potentially daisy-chaining multiple boxes together that do different jobs and trying to come up with the perfect solution of settings. Well, finally, someone has created an adapter, distinctly different than a mod, for the PC Engine, also known as the TurboGrafx 16 here in America. Called the Upper Graphics, the device strives to give your TurboGrafx 16 720p visuals on all your modern displays. The device slots right on into the back of a PC Engine, Core Graphics, or Core Graphics 2, and offers a DVI connection as well as a 3.5mm audio jack for the device's output connections. The attachment also doubles as backup RAM for the console, meaning games that utilize a save function can save to the device. The save files can be backed up to your PC via USB from the device, so you can theoretically have unlimited amounts of save files. When you power on your console with the attachment connected and no games inserted, the device will open up to the menu where you can adjust aspect ratios, VSync frequency, and name table cropping as well. So while the options compared to a FrameMeister are limited in scope, the device should be more effortless compared to the upscaler. There are obvious trade-offs when it comes to the route you take in order to get your desired visuals, but it really depends on what you are trying to do. The FrameMeister is expensive, but so is the upper graphics. Announced at 35,800 yen, which is roughly $355 at the time I write this, it's about the same price of the FrameMeister. So when it comes down to it, do you want to upscale several retro gaming consoles or only a few? If you only want to upscale one or two consoles, then potentially your solution might be to get mods and device-specific solutions to achieve your goals and go for a more simplistic route, like the upper graphics. The price of these can add up quickly though, the more you get, and in that case, a sole FrameMeister with no extra mods might be the ideal solution if you are willing to dive in a bit more and tweak around some settings and upgrade firmware when need be. Either way, support and love like this for consoles is staggeringly awesome and really helps the retro gaming revolution that is currently taking place. This month in 2001, Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura is released for the PC and becomes extremely well regarded. Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura, more commonly known as just Arcanum, is a 2001 RPG developed by the now defunct Troika Games and published by Sierra Entertainment. Troika Games consisted of former Interplay Entertainment staff, most notably Tim Kaine, responsible for the 1997 critically acclaimed Fallout. It was released in North America and Europe in August 2001 for Windows. Debuting at the 4th position on NPD Intellect's bestseller list, it was Troika's first game and also their best-selling title, with over 234,000 copies sold and with estimated revenues of $8.8 million. The story takes place on the continent of Arcanum, which is a fantasy setting that is in the process of an industrial revolution. The story begins with the crash of the Zeppelin IFS Zephyr, of which the protagonist is the only survivor, which leads them throughout the land in search of answers. The game employs an isometric perspective and features an open game world where the protagonist can travel unhindered. Gameplay in Arcanum consists of traveling through the game world, visiting locations, and interacting with the local inhabitants, typically in real time. Occasionally, inhabitants will require the player's assistance in various tasks, which the player may choose to solve in order to acquire special items, experience points, or new followers. Many quests offer multiple solutions for the player, depending on their playing style, which may consist of combat, persuasion, thievery, or bribery. Ultimately, players will encounter hostile opponents, if such encounters are not avoided using stealth or diplomacy, in which case they and the player will engage in combat, which can be real-time or turn-based. While official support for this game ended in October 2001, very shortly after the game was released, several unofficial patches were produced to fix the many remaining problems and bugs, which remain popular and highly recommended to this day, all rolled into an essential mods and patches pack, showcasing and detailing the passionate group of gamers who still love this game to this day. So that was Retro Style Spotlight for the week of August 23rd, 2016. All the relevant links to everything you heard in this edition of RSS will be in the description below. Remember, you can sign up for a Launchbox forum account to talk with us over there. If Launchbox has given you a beautiful library of games, then why not purchase a premium license of Launchbox for $20 to access Big Box, which is a controller and couch-oriented version of Launchbox. We also have our Launchbox games database now available for users to contribute to. If you have a few favorite games that are lacking in metadata or media, head on over to the games page on the database and make your desired edits or add the games yourself. Jason, Kirsten, and I have a lot planned for our community, so if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we're doing a tutorial video every Friday, live developer sessions over on Twitch, Launchbox news, Q&As, and a ton more content in the future. Let us know what you think of RSS and any feedback you may have on it. My name is Brad, the link to my channel is below, and remember, Freaks and Geeks, to play more games, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day!